Hello, pattern enthusiasts. A little while ago, we talked about color blocking. So today, we're actually going to take one of those renderings that we have and pattern it out. Hi, I'm Christina, and I love to digitally apparel pattern, creating unique pieces of wearable art. And today, I'm going to be working in Adobe Illustrator to color block a pattern. So if you're interested in my key commands and useful charts, I will definitely link it down below. That is how I will be moving between tools so quickly. I love it. So I definitely recommend it so that you can start manipulating and working in Illustrator quickly as well. So I have this cute little rendering I did of a color blocked garment. And I am super excited to get it patterned. So I'm going to pull my patterns up and zoom out just a little bit, just like so, and looks like I am grouped. There we go. If you're interested in following along with a half scale, I will also link it down below of where you can get either just the half scale or a half scale mini course to help you really get started patterning in Adobe Illustrator. Since this pattern is very symmetrical, I'm going to be staying on just the half. I am going to do a second garment in the second half of this video. For the first garment I have here, it is asymmetrical, so I will only have to be working with half of the pattern. And this one's going to go super quick because it's basically going up this start line and then up to a point. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab my pen and mark a point path just like that. And I kind of like that. Then I'm actually wanting this line to mimic up here on this one a little bit. So we're going to do a copy, not paste. We want to copy front. And we're just going to move it up so that way we know it's on that same angle. And then if I lengthen that out, can I keep that at that 45? Yep. It's going to really go much further than I'm wanting it to go. And if I pull it up, it's hitting right at that corner. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to rotate it just a little bit off of that point. We want to keep the angle as close as possible. And I guess the other thing that I could potentially do instead to make sure that if I wanted them to be exactly even or exactly parallel to each other, I'm going to pop that down just a smidge more, is what I could do is copy front and then move that guy to the front of the dart like so and mimic it that way, which I think I'm going to do because then that pulls that down and I think is giving me what I want because I wanted those to be parallel and I think that's going to give it what I want it to do. So before I finish up this first one, I'm going to do the exact same thing on the back, but definitely what I want to make sure is I actually want to get rid of my back shoulder dart for the back piece because for this one, I don't want a dart up there. So we're going to get rid of it by we're going to cut apart the pattern piece. Oh, and it's grouped, so let's ungroup it. There we go. And we're going to rotate that guy in, closed, and reshape that arm's eye. Yeah. Now, I can keep going through and actually like really clean this up, but since it's kind of a working drafting pattern and I will be creating, whoops, did not want to fully, thought I cut that apart, not enough. There we go. Just so that it looks just a smidge nicer, I'm going to go ahead and do a few of those. And there we go. When you're working with patterns, depending on what you're doing, I sometimes leave my base patterns a little messy because I can always turn them off and back on and kind of see what I did when I did it and all that fun stuff. So then all we have to do is, how do I want to do this? Because I want to try to get that same angle. And since I want to try to get that same angle, I'm actually going to reflect it. So I'm going to grab this piece and I'm going to reflect it over this center line. We're going to copy it. Then we're going to grab everything back again. So we know that is the right angle. And I'm actually pretty happy with where that's hitting on that neckline. I think that will be a really cute hit. The only thing, I could bump it up just a little bit if I want, but I'm not going to do that. So I have the base of my patterns ready to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another layer and lock that original layer. That way I can't actually mess with this pattern at all, and it won't cause problems in the long run. Then all I have to do is trace out each of my patterns. So I'm going to trace this front one first, close it up. Then we're going to trace the next one. And I could definitely probably smooth out that. Well, no, actually I don't want to smooth out that corner at all because I want it to be a very harsh line. Go up. Didn't quite hit that intersect. Get that intersect. Re-click. And neckline. And then we're going to pen the last one. Start there. Get that nice and curved. Then that's the front. Time to pen the back. Whoops. And last one. Now what I do love is that if any of these were slightly off, I can zoom back in and then go and readjust what, if I can grab that handle, readjust what needs to be adjusted. So I definitely need to manipulate. Oh, and see, I didn't quite get right on that corner there, and I want to bring that in. And that actually is going to help hit that line better, which probably means this guy is also not on that line. There we go. So let me go and turn off my original pattern. And there I have my ready to go pattern. Before I do anything else though, I'm going to want to make sure these patterns are labeled, and I want to make sure that they have some notches so I know what goes where. Since it's going to be a little bit more cut up, and once it's cut up, it might be a little bit harder to tell what's what. So I'm just going to zoom in, and we're going to make a double line. Ooh, that's really big. We're just going to copy that one down, and we're going to make a double line there, and we're going to copy front, and then we're going to grab that pattern piece and we're going to group it. so that that is together. And then we're going to grab those two again. And we're going to, actually before I do that, I like that length, so I'm just going to not do that. Control Z is your friend. There we go, so that I have that length for my other sides. So then I'm going to grab the two things and we're going to group it. And then we're going to do the same on this guy. And since this one's the front, I'm just going to give a centerpiece there. Copy, Control Front, group, and pull it off. And we're going to group that one. And then we're going to, oh, wow. I was going to do that, but we're going to keep it. So then we're going to do see if I can grab it. There we go. A double line for that center front. And you could even go all the way down to that. But the other thing you could even put like a notch all the way down at these guys. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to hit a notch right at where I want those points to meet. Then we're going to grab them all. Maybe. You're just wanting to use that rotate tool today, computer, and I don't know why. There we go. We're going to copy front, grab the bottom piece, and group it. Move it away. And then we're going to grab the rest of them, group. And now we have our pattern pieces ready to cut out. Well, ready for, oh, I turned it off. There we go. Pull those off to the side so that we can see them a little bit better. So now I have this pattern piece ready to go that will create this fun, unique piece of wearable art for my little half scale, and then see what happens. Now this one was definitely using darts to actually incorporate the pattern blocking. The next one that we're going to do, let's scroll over to it, is this guy. I gotta unlock that layer so that I can actually manipulate them, because that's the front and this is the back. So we're gonna put them on the respective sides. Now, this one, I am going to leave my darts intact completely. So I'll be sewing my darts separately and not taking them out with the pattern. The other thing, as I am looking at this design, it is actually going to be crossing that center line, and it's going to be different side to side. So what I'm going to have to do is actually reflect it across the plane. That way I can manipulate from side to side. And I'm just a little bit close here so that we're going to do that there. And it looks like I might have gotten just a hair off on that reflect, so let's try it again. Or it might not be totally up and down. It's probably not quite totally up and down. So we're gonna fix that right now. And pull it in like that, and then we're gonna rotate it till that bottom line is right there. Now we should be good. Reflecting it across that center line. Copy it. There we go. And again, I can either clean up my patterns a little bit so I don't have that center front line or anything, or leave it since I will be tracing it in the long run, which is what I'm going to decide to do. So one thing I'm going to do is I have to do it on the one. I should have stolen it from the other because I already done that. So I'm actually going to steal this pattern. It's my back, because again, I don't want that back shoulder dart. So instead of doing that again, I'm going to quickly manipulate. This is why I love patterning on the computer. I can copy paste stuff that I've already done, and it is super fast, super easy to be like, oh, well, I just did that particular move, and I can so fast have that pattern ready to move onto that. And I love it. Love it so much. I do it all the time for my own stuff that I pattern. Cross it over. There we go. So now we have this, and I'm going to start by going to that point right up there. And we're going to draft a line that is 2 inches. Too much. We're just going to pull that in and rotate it. And that will be our guide of how much we're going to actually move over this amount from the neckline. And then once I have that guide, I'm going to copy it over to the other side so that I know, get it right on there, rotate it. I know that it will be true right up at that seam when I am actually working with it. Then I'm just going to go ahead and pen and kind of go like that. And then it comes out. That's going to hit the very tippy top of my dart. So I might not be going quite as low, because I don't want to mess with that dart right now. And you can, it's not as fun, but you can actually have it go through there and still have your dart go up through that point. If we were going to do something like that, it would look something like that. And I want to bring that anchor point down if we were going to do that. And I probably should have given myself a guideline over here as well, like I did with that, which we can do right now. And we'll go to at 90. Rotate it to right on that line. Whoops. Just want that guy. I want him filled in. Now let's rotate him. So then I can pop that guy up to that anchor. And that's giving us kind of the look of this garment. Then we would grab that point, bring it over to the other side, line it up, just like so. We're going to rotate it so it's matching that line, so we know exactly where we're going. And then we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to pen in a line. We're just going to go straight in the middle there. And that's how that quick and easily can be done. Now, I'm definitely not quite liking how the front is looking. And I think what it is just the angle of this to get the proportions of what I have drawn versus how it's going to fit on my half scale. Because I have a little bit more going up and down. I feel like I have a little bit more length. I might have a little bit more length in the torso of my drawing than I do in the torso of my pattern, which is something to kind of consider. but I am not thrilled with these proportions at all. And I would definitely be interested, because I'm not sure I want to deal with going through that dart. So we're going to do a little bit of fun and definitely hit above that dart and give it a nice little swirl, like so. Yeah. You know, sometimes when you're working with these, I'm not thrilled with this one at all, and I'm not sure I'm actually going to end up making this. Although, however, building this one as a process could help have me figure out where I actually want the proportions on the body. Specifically, what I would do for this one actually is I would probably make a muslin mock-up of the basic garment that I have, and then I would draw straight onto the muslin mock-up, because then I would be able to see the proportions on the body that I'm fitting, because I am just not quite getting how I want this one to look in flat patterning. And I do that actually really often, is if I really start getting stuck with a very specific style line, I'll either try to get something really close, and then I'll make that mock-up and make it look good. But I am very happy with how this one looks and how it turned out, and I will definitely be excited to get this one printed out and sewn together. So make sure to check back soon for how this one goes together and what it looks like on my dress form. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe so that you can see other ways of digitally apparel patterning. And make sure you grab those key commands and half scale so that you can be following along and creating your own patterns. I look forward to seeing you in some of my other videos. Happy patterning!